Hey guys, welcome back to the Frugal Life with Mercedes. Today I am going to do my Q&A video. I did get some questions, so I'm going to answer those, and then I might add in some other things to get to know me. I have had my YouTube channel, actively had my YouTube channel for almost 2 years this spring. I actually started my YouTube channel back in, I want to say 2015 or 2016, and I put out a few videos, but then I just didn't do anything with it. And then like 2 years ago, I decided to really commit to making the videos, and so then I did. So I'm going to start with, I am 30 years old. I turned 30 in May. So I am a Gemini. I don't really keep up with astrology all that much, but some people are interested in that kind of thing. So I am my favorite colors are red and green. Not like Christmas, just since green is my birthstone. Ever since I was little, I really liked the color green. I actually drive a lime green car, the mean green machine, as I like to call her. And red was always my mother's favorite color, and I actually did not like the color red when I was little, but I do now, so red and green are my favorite. And I'd have to say my favorite holiday, as vain as it probably sounds, is my birthday. In my eyes, my birthday is a holiday. In my eyes, everyone's birthday is a holiday. The reason why I treasure mine so much is it's another year of life that I'm blessed to have. Also, with my family, my entire family's birthdays are in the fall and winter, except for my niece. My niece is a summer baby, but all my siblings and my parents are all fall and winter people. So when my birthday would come at the end of May, we always had a party, and it really wasn't necessarily about me. It was about all of us getting together and having a cookout and all that kind of stuff. And so, like I said, it might sound vain, but I have so many wonderful memories of it not necessarily being about me specifically, but it being about the family. And I really treasure that. So I was getting some questions about my dumpster diving. So I no longer dumpster dive. I have not dumpster dived in about a year. And I've made some videos on that, but basically what happened was one day I just decided to start dumpster diving, and one day I decided not to anymore. So I also have moved. So where I was living with my ex-husband, we lived right down the road from the stores that I was able to dumpster dive in, and then I moved like a half hour away with my parents, and there were no stores to dumpster dive at. And dumpster diving requires a lot of time and a lot of energy, and if you've never dumpster dived, then you just like it's intense, because you find a bunch of great stuff for free, which is amazing, but then you have to sort through that stuff, and you go late at night, and it's just really I became kind of obsessed with it, and now my new obsession is couponing. So for me, I kind of get, I don't want to say bored, but I get bored with certain activities, and then then I find a new one that I'm really overzealous about. So for now, I'm not dumpster diving. That doesn't mean that I'll never dumpster dive again. It's just at this point, I'm not doing it. Then I got some questions about my wedding. Now, if you saw my the video I put out yesterday, I do talk about Mark and I are not in a rush to get married, but I got questions about budget weddings and if I'll do videos on that. And if you guys are interested in videos on budget weddings, I'd be more than happy to do that. My sister is actually supposed to get married within the next year to her longtime boyfriend. So I will be helping her with a budget wedding. My first wedding was on a very tight budget. We got married at the park. We paid $70 to have an officiant do it in the park. We didn't pay for the park. We just showed up at the park and did it. $30 for a marriage license. My wedding dress was $17. The most expensive part was the flowers. I had a bouquet, and I also had sunflowers, like a sunflower wreath with ribbons down, and the flowers and the food, my mother-in-law Beth, who passed away last year, she actually paid for that. My husband bought me a wedding ring and an engagement ring, and then his wedding band was actually his father's, because his father passed away when we were dating. So him and his dad were the same size ring, so we didn't have to buy a wedding band for him. So my wedding was very, very cheap, and it was beautiful. And I personally don't see I couldn't spend a bunch of money on a wedding. I couldn't, like. And the thing is even if I was a millionaire tomorrow, like, I still would want to get married in the woods or in my parents' backyard, something like that. And I'm not saying that anybody that had a big wedding did it wrong. I'm just saying for myself personally, that's not really my thing. I also find that there's a lot of people, and I'm not going to say women, I'm going to say people in general, who really get stuck on getting married and not necessarily finding a good partner. There are people that are really into the big lavish ring and the big lavish wedding and the big lavish honeymoon and the big lavish this and the big lavish that, and at the end of the day their partner's kind of crap. You know what I mean? Like, and granted, I am going through a divorce, but my husband is not crap, and we get along well. It's just one of those things. But neither one of us got really caught up in the big lavish to do. And I feel like sometimes people feel like that's what you have to do, not necessarily what they want to do. Now, if you truly want that big wedding, then go on with your bad self. But I feel like sometimes we have to take a step back and say, why do I want a $3,000 or $4,000 or $5,000 wedding dress or $10,000 wedding dress? Like, is it because I genuinely want that, or is it because I'm feeling pressured to do that from society or people or what have you? So, but I would be happy to do videos on budget weddings. If you guys are interested in that, just let me know. Then I got a question from Julie, Dinner on a Dime, about my tattoos. And Julie also asked me about the dumpster diving. So I have 9 individual tattoos, and in that 9 includes the 6 flowers that I have on my half sleeve. I got most of those done at different times. A couple of them I got done together. So I will do a tattoo tour if any of you guys are interested in that, because there's a lot of my tattoos, like, you guys always see my arm, but I have others that I don't really show on camera just because it doesn't really fit into my videos. I'm usually from the chest up in my videos. But I have 3 sunflowers on my calf, and there's 3 of them, and each one is about this big. And I just have a love for sunflowers. As you guys know, if you've been following me for a while, I have some mental health issues, and sunflowers just really brighten my day. The way that I look at it is, even on the cloudiest day, sunflowers, they're turning their heads towards the sun, and it's like they're looking for the bright side. And so when I look at my tattoos, that's what I think, and I just think that they're beautiful. The tattoo on my calf is the 3 sunflowers, and I am an avid walker, and so when I go on walks, I have my phone with me and I'm listening to YouTube videos or music, and I will see people's sunflowers like in their gardens, and I will take pictures of them. And so those are actually from somebody's yard. Like, I took a picture of these gorgeous sunflowers and I showed them to my tattoo guy, and he's like, yeah, I can make that happen. And then I have a big sunflower on the center of my back. I actually got that the day after my wedding. So I was married on December 21st, 2014, and then on December 22nd, 2014, my mother-in-law Beth and my sister-in-law Sarah and I all went and got tattoos. Sarah and Beth had never had tattoos before, and I had had one from when I was 18, but I hadn't had tattoos. I had not had any done since then. So I figured go big or go home. And it's just a big yellow sunflower, and I wear a lot of tank tops, if you guys have not noticed, and a lot of strappy shirts. So where it's placed, you can see it when I'm wearing my usual clothes. Then on my right thigh, I have a big blue elephant, and within the elephant is more sunflowers. And I actually got that done I think I got that done in 2016. My husband had never had any tattoos, so him and I went in together, and he got a he got a Pokemon tattoo on his arm, and that was his very first tattoo, and it was actually a memorial to his father. And then I got the elephant. Then I got the flowers kind of one by one, and they don't really represent anything. Well, the elephant represents my love for elephants. I absolutely love elephants, and I think that they're majestic, and they are so smart. And elephants can be apart. Like, you can have two elephants that knew each other, and then they can get reconnected years and years and years later. I'm talking 30, 40 years later, and they remember each other, and they cry, and they like greet each other. And I love that they carry their young it takes 2 years for their baby to fully develop. And I think that speaks for perseverance. And also, elephants are ran by women. So the oldest, wisest elephant female runs the pack. And, and just the way that they're grouped together is just beautiful. So that's why the elephants. And then the other flowers I just thought were really beautiful. One of the flowers is actually a rose. It's a purple rose, and that goes with my married last name. So I will keep that forever. And so that's what my tattoos represent. Sorry, it's nothing super philosophical, but that's what they represent. I also got a question about siblings. So I have 7 siblings. I have an older sister named Jessica, and she is 32. Now, unfortunately, Jessica has estranged herself from the family, so she has not talked to the family for many, many years. So she's still my sister, but she's estranged from the family. Then there's me, and I'm 30. Then I have my brother Spencer, and he is 28. And him and I are actually the closest in age. So when I was 29, he had his 28th birthday. So we're pretty pretty close in age. We're the closest in age out of all my siblings. And my brother is severely disabled. He doesn't talk. He's basically like a baby in a grown man's body, and he's my special buddy. I love all my siblings, but Spencer has a special place in my heart, and he's my buddy. Then there is my brother Logan, and he is 26, and Logan also is special needs. Not as severe as Spencer, but basically like a little kid as well. Then there's my sister Ginger, and Ginger is 24, and she is married to William, and they have their daughter Penelope, and in March they're going to have a son, Harrison. And yes, and my sister and I, Ginger, have not always gotten along. Her actual name is Virginia, and she got that name while we were living in Ohio. She is named after our great-grandmother, who we never met. But she's been Ginger since she was, I think, like a week old or something like that. My uncle used to call her Ginger the party girl. And yeah, so my sister and I did not always get along, but then as we've gotten older, I think we see eye to eye more, which is nice. And her daughter Penny is the sweetest little girl ever, and I cannot wait to meet my nephew. After that, I have my sister Amanda. Amanda is 18, and her partner is Carson, and they've been together for a long while. And after Ginger, I didn't think I was going to have any more siblings because my parents got divorced, and then my mom got remarried to my stepdad who raised me, and I just consider him my dad. And so then Amanda came along, and I had another sister, and that was really nice. And Amanda is a fabulous singer and such a sweet, genuine person. Then I have my sister Amy, and Amy is 15. She just turned 15 in October, and Amy is a girl after my own heart. She is really quirky and really unusual and just kind of goes to the beat of her own drummer just like I do, and her and I have an amazing connection as well. Then I have my brother Justice, and he is 13, and he is definitely the baby of the family. Yeah, he's the baby of the family. We all make fun of my mom because, we're like, he's 13 and that's your baby, and all in good fun, so those are my siblings. Now I got some questions about kids and if I'm planning on having any and what I would name them. Now I actually am child free by choice. So when I was in my early 20s, I discussed with my partner at the time having children. And when I got married, my husband and I briefly discussed having children, but I came to the conclusion on my own that I don't want to be a biological mother, and my husband came to the conclusion on his own he didn't want to be a father, and so we talked together and we made that decision together. But now that him and I are not together, we both have still kept our individual decision to not be parents. As some of you guys know, my partner does have a daughter, and so I am helping him with her. But as far as me having kids, I don't see that in the cards. I'm not one to never say never, but it's not in my plans to be a mother. And there's nothing wrong with being a mother. I grew up in a big family, as you guys heard me say. It's just not something that I'm interested in. However, if I was a mother, I would definitely go with some unusual names like Juniper and Banner. I like the name Bo, but for like a little girl. I like the name Sunny. I like Sunny Rose. I like Sunflower. I like unusual, my kids would have names like they grew up in a commune. That's just what I like personally. I don't have any pets. I did have a rooster named Jamie, but he passed away in the fall. I had him when I lived at my parents' house. My parents got a rooster, and he was kind of special needs, and then he ended up passing away because he was old. But I'm really not a pet person. And when I say that, people think I don't like animals, but that's actually not true at all. I love animals. I really like enjoying people's pets when I go to their house, but I really try to keep my life simple, and I just don't have any pets. Again, I'm not going to say I'm never going to have a pet. I've always wanted to have a pig, and I've always wanted to have a huge turtle, like one of those turtles that lives to be like 120, and you have to leave it in your will to your great grandkids or great nieces and nephews. So possibly one day I'll have a pig. And I really like Great Danes, and I really like little Dachshunds, and I grew up with mutts. Like my parents would just pick something up from a dog from the ASPCA. We're not really breed loyal. But we used to have 2 dogs, and they both passed away. They were the dogs of my childhood, and they were Border Collie mixes, and they were literally the best dogs in the world. Our one dog, Brody, was actually left at a campground. Like, we don't know the details because he was at the ASPCA, but they said that he was found wandering, essentially starving at a campground. And so we don't know if the family left him there on purpose or on accident or what happened, but he was at the ASPCA and he was literally like the best dog in the entire world. And I miss him all the time. So I really do love animals, but I like the idea of, going to my mom's house and playing with her chickens, and then I go home and not have to deal with chickens, if that makes sense. But I grew up in a house with lots of pets. We always had cats, we always had dogs, my dad always had fish, and we had a 100-gallon tank with Oscars in the kitchen when I was growing up. We've had birds, we've had bunnies, lots of stuff. I got asked, where would you move states, and if so, which one? So I have lived in 3 states. I am originally from Ohio, and I moved to Virginia when I was 11 because my mom got married to my stepdad, my dad. And then in 2009, I lived in West Virginia for about a year, and that was to go to college in West Virginia, and I've lived in Virginia. So sorry to disappoint, but I really have no interest in moving at all. I really like this area. I like being a stone's throw away from my parents and my siblings and my niece and my future nephew. And actually the town I live at with my partner is the town that I've always wanted to live. It's between where my parents live in a tiny town where there's nothing and there's like a bigger city. And this town that I live in now is right between the two of them. And so for me, it's the perfect mix of country and city. So I could buy land here and have like a house with some acreage. But then you drive 10 minutes down the road and I can get Chinese takeout. You know what I mean? So for me, that's absolutely perfect. And I'm really not a traveler at all. I've been on a plane 3 times in my life. When I was, I think, 12 or 13, we had a family friend come to visit and her husband had his own little private plane. And so I did ride on that and I did not like it. And then a couple of years ago, my husband's grandmother passed away. So we went to Texas to visit his mother, to support her in the grieving of her mother. And I did not like it. I loved Texas. I thought Texas was fabulous. And I was like, I would move to Texas in a heartbeat if I got over my fear of flying. So I have a big, have no interest in flying whatsoever. So I'm really not a traveler. So as far as moving, the answer is probably not, unless I was close enough where I could drive to see my family on a regular basis in a short amount of time. Because as it is, my extended family is all in Ohio. So before the pandemic, I was going probably 4 times a year to stay with my grandparents, and I would see my aunts and uncles and my other grandmother. And that's about a 6.5-hour drive. So moving, probably not. Although I do love Texas. The one time I was there, I absolutely loved it. And I've been to Florida one time, and that was on a cruise, which I don't like cruises either. Don't get me started. I don't like any of that. And I went to Cocoa Beach and I was like, this is fabulous. I could totally live here on this beach. But I've always wanted to go to the Southwest, and Mark and I, when things calm down and are safer, we are planning to take a train to Colorado and the Southwest and California, where California is where he is originally from. And both of us have always wanted to take a long train ride, in Some Like It Hot. I always thought that would be fabulous. And I probably will not like trains either, but I'm running out of mass transit to try. So, but I've never been to the Southwest and I've always wanted to. So maybe that. Then I got some questions about YouTube. What do I enjoy the most about YouTube? What I enjoy the most about YouTube is really the individuals. So in my own personal life, my own friends are not into frugality and they're not into thriftiness, and that's fine. But some of these ladies that I have met that comment on my videos, and I watch their videos, and we message each other on Instagram, even though I've never met them, I consider these ladies my true friends because we're constantly bouncing ideas off of each other and we're supporting each other. And I know that there's like, I know Julie from Dinner on a Dime has talked about like, you know, going to the food pantry and at first feeling some embarrassment with telling her friends about the food pantry and all that, even though with her circumstances and situations it's necessary. And I felt that way too when my partner and I started dating. I was embarrassed to tell him that I go to the food pantry because I was worried that he was going to think less of me. And he doesn't, and he's proud of me that I needed something and that I swallowed my pride and took care of myself. And, you know, the thing is though, with these ladies on YouTube, and I say ladies because that's who it primarily is, but the people on YouTube have really been my cheerleaders, like people I don't even know, and they genuinely are happy for me that I found a new partner, and they're genuinely happy for me that I'm paying off debt, and I don't have a bed frame, and I showed you guys, and that's because I'm trying to be fully transparent and say, I don't really like bed frames, and I don't think that it's necessary when I'm trying to get out of debt. And people are like, yeah, exactly. Like, you know, and so for me, that's what I enjoy the most, is that people understand where you're coming from and they support you. Maybe even more in some cases than the people in your personal life. Because if the people in your personal life are not into frugality and debt-free living like you are, then it can be really hard to like explain why you don't go on vacations or why you don't do certain things. And so that's what I enjoy the most. How do I deal with bad comments? So we are on a public forum, and unfortunately there are just nasty people that are sick and twisted, people that are so sad with their own lives. And then there's trolls who literally have, I guess, nothing better to do with their lives than make nasty comments. And my suggestion to those people is you need to go volunteer, because your energy could be so better spent. And at the end of the day, I feel sorry for those people. I don't give them much thought, but I'm just like, you know, especially when I see somebody comment on, you know, some of my friends' pages, and I'm just like, you're really going to talk to her like that? Okay. You know, these are some of the sweetest ladies ever. Okay. And the thing is people either understand your situation or they don't. Or maybe they do, but they don't care. And so I'm not going to say that it doesn't bother me when people make nasty comments to me or somebody that I care about. But I think you have to keep, you know, the thing is like, would they talk to somebody like that to their face? Probably not. And so people are hiding behind anonymity, and people are hiding behind keyboards. And there's nothing that we can do about that. The only thing that I can suggest is block that person and delete their comment. And try to keep in perspective that they're probably a sad human being. You know what I mean? Like, so it's just one of those things with being on the internet and putting yourself out there. And the other thing is too, people don't like to see other people succeed. Like if they're sad people and they're jealous, there's a lot of jealousy, you know, or people always think that they know best. Like when I talked about paying off my car, I got a lot of people, well, you shouldn't have a car payment. Well, you don't know my situation, and you don't know what my thought process was at the time, or I didn't know getting a car loan was such a bad investment, because you're learning. We're all learning. You're not born with all this knowledge. It's called life because you learn from your mistakes. So, you know, that's just one of the things. But that's another, that goes along with what I enjoy about YouTube, is because me and the ladies that I follow, we can roll our eyes at these comments together, and that's really nice. What would I do differently on YouTube if I could go back? I would start being more consistent back 4 years ago when I first started putting out videos. I put out, like I said, I had put out some videos, and then I didn't really do anything with it. So that's the only thing that I would have changed, is being more consistent with my videos. The final question that I got, and sorry this is like over 30 minutes long, guys, but you know, so advice for starting out on YouTube. So I am not monetized yet, and I have worked my butt off for 2 consistent years. So I think the biggest thing is you have to be realistic, because a lot of people come to YouTube and think, ooh, I'm gonna quit my job, I'm gonna be YouTube famous, I'm gonna be making fat stacks. And the reality is that's not what's gonna happen. I have seen people who literally, they put out a video or 2 and then overnight they're monetized. And then there are people that were able to quit their job and do YouTube full time, or basically get the amount of money from YouTube that they would from a regular job and work their regular job. And that's great, but you have to keep your expectations realistic. You can't put out a couple of crappy videos and then think, or even well-made videos and think, oh, I'm gonna quit my job next week and be making fat cheese. You know, like it's probably not gonna happen like that. Another thing of advice is to be true to yourself. Think about what you want to talk about. So my channel is about frugality, and the reason that I did that is I'm very passionate about frugality, and also it gives me a lot of opportunity to have a wide spectrum of topics. Grocery hauls, budget videos, frugal weddings, couponing, all sorts of stuff. And so then I literally never run out of topics. I literally never run out of video ideas. Versus if you're too narrow, then that can be a problem with getting subscribers. And then if you stray from that, then people sometimes, like, you know, they don't really understand the direction that you're taking. So before you start your video, your YouTube channel, or even after you start it, make sure you know what direction that you want to go in, and follow that. And at the end of the day, it's your YouTube channel. So you can talk about whatever you want. You can make 3-hour-long videos. You can ramble the whole time. You can block people. You can turn off comments. You can harass people in the comments. At the end of the day, it's your channel and it's your creative outlet. And so just remember, you get to make the rules, and you get to decide what you talk about and all that kind of stuff. Another piece of advice that I have is support other channels. And I'm not saying that everybody that says, come check out my video, check out my channel, you know, subscribe to them if you want to, and they'll probably subscribe to you. But the ladies that I follow, they talk about the same stuff that I do. So when they put out a video, I'm like, preach, girl, preach. Like, whether it's a tight budget or whatever it might be, and we're in similar places in our lives and we have similar goals. And like I said, they really help and motivate me, and they are my biggest cheerleaders, and I am their biggest cheerleaders. Like I said, Julie from Dinner on a Dime and Karina from One Day at a Time. Dinner on a Dime and One Day at a Time. Sorry. And there's also there's like a whole list of ladies that I follow and that follow me. And if you go to my YouTube video, I've got, I think, 2 or 3 YouTube videos of people that I follow and that follow me and that we are each other. So yeah. So anyway, those were the ones that I wanted to answer today. So please consider subscribing to my channel. If you did not know, I have an Instagram, The Frugal Life of the Mercedes. And until next time, guys, bye.